Welcome to the Women Talk Construction podcast. Today we have a really exciting guest with us, and it is Representative Jeff Zenger. He is a principled conservative running for the House District 74 in North Carolina and the House of Representatives. He's a small business owner that has grown his business into a successful company that builds commercial and residential structures across the state. Jeff's a strong believer, which we love, and previously served as a missionary in the Metro Baltimore area for many years. Jeff is devoted husband, has raised 4 wonderful children with his wife, and he's spent his life serving others and is ready to serve the people of House District 74. So why I'm so excited about interviewing Jeff today is that I heard some of the reasons that what he's doing today to help the construction world is because of the challenges that he sees for young people to be able to purchase homes. One of the reasons, I'm going to let him tell the story, but it is really exciting to hear somebody that really cares about our industry, cares about their family, cares about the Lord, and most of all, cares about the people of North Carolina. So welcome, Representative Zenger, thank you for being here on the podcast today. Tell our audience just a little bit about you that I haven't already shared.
Sure. Well, Christi, thanks so much for having me. It's such a privilege to be here. So I'm in my 3rd term. I've been in the House 5 years now, and I've spent 30 years in the building and construction industry, building everything from houses to warehouses to office buildings to giant refrigerators, you name it, I've done it. But what really has got me concerned is for young people. Our housing industry right now has the price of housing has exploded. And what we've done is we're over-regulating ourselves. I mean, that's the bottom line. And it's driving the cost through the roof. And, listen, I came from literally nothing. And this country has been so good to me. And really the way it started, I bought my very first house when I was 21 years old. And I didn't have any help. I didn't have any, I told you, I came from nothing. So it was Zenger, you're going to make it happen or it ain't going to happen. And so I worked my tail off, and everything that I've accomplished since then has come because of that initial buying that house. I renovated it. I lived in it for 13 years, paid it off. And when I moved to North Carolina, I came with that cash and I bought a house here and I started my business and grew my family, and it was terrific. And so, this country's been great to me. I tell people all the time, Ephesians 3:20 says God can do immeasurably more than you can ask or imagine. It is, I'm at the point in my life when I look back and I go, I could not have even dreamed when I was 21 to pray for what God has done in my life. And so it's with that passion and that understanding that I want young people, I've got 4 kids in their 20s, to be able to own a home and to be able to do what I did. And that is absolutely in jeopardy. And what a lot of folks don't understand, if that's in jeopardy, our whole economic system is in jeopardy. Housing is literally the cornerstone, and not just housing, but home ownership. And if you pull that cornerstone out, you start to weaken the entire economic system. And so for those who love history, folks were coming from feudalism. They couldn't own property. They got here, and that's what made the American dream. It was Washington and Hamilton that put together the banking system, which a lot of people didn't want because they just wanted an American aristocracy as opposed to the American or English aristocracy. They put that together, and it made us the most powerful country in the world. So we've got to get after this and really go after the root causes and get people buying houses.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is a good segue into some of the things you've already done for our industry. Let's talk about that. I have a 36-year-old that still can't buy a house. So I'm 100% with you on the situation that we're in. And I have a 19-year-old that's probably going to be challenged with the same thing when she gets out of college. So thank you. And we love you for that. Let's talk a little bit about the construction legislation. Tell us a little bit about your story about why you decided to run for office, and what happened that triggered that. And tell us a little bit about that bill that you have been able to bring to fruition.
Sure. So a couple things, one, politics. I never sought politics. It came to me. And so I was originally asked, I did a plan in my town. I was asked to be on the planning board. got on the planning board, ended up being chairman of the planning board, left that. A few years later, was asked to run for council because we're going to have a big turnover. Went ahead and did that, served on my town council for 4 terms, left that. I'm like, okay, I'm done. My kids are leaving. It's time for me to, finish out my career. And someone called me and said, would you run for state office? Well, at the time that they called me, and this is not very sexy, but it's the truth. I was going through a ridiculous ordeal trying to permit a 58,000 square foot freezer for food distribution that I was going to build. And I did build. And it just took me forever. I mean, I spent $300,000 on plans, and it took me like 9 months. So here's the crazy part. So they called me, and I'm mad. Okay, I'm just mad. I'm like, this is nuts. And so I ran, and as soon as I ran, once I won, I wasn't supposed to win the district. It's one of the hardest districts in the state. I won. I got to Raleigh, and I was like, okay, how do we do bills? I got some.
Nice.
Very first bill I did was a bill that dealt with stormwater inside watershed areas. We've got a lot of property that was previously developed in there, and they just kind of shut it down because they don't have stormwater because it was developed before that. So I created a way for folks to be able to expand their businesses or housing and have a compromise that worked out. And I got DEQ on board. Governor Cooper actually signed that bill. Then I did a bill. It took me 3 years, 2 terms to get through, and it was to deal with the issue I was so angry with. My thought was, listen, if I'm going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and hire engineers, there's no engineers in plan review looking it over.
Right.
So what you need to do is you need to basically make sure my engineers are in good standing, North Carolina engineers, and rubber stamp. Let's roll. So I did a bill. It's called the shot clock bill. It gives them 45 days to review the plan. They send it back. We do the fixes. We turn it in, and they got 2 weeks to issue a permit.
Nice.
Let's go.
Very nice.
So we got that one through. And then what I've been working on right now is specifically with housing. I did a bill this last year, House Bill 765. It is not passed yet, and it will, I think, eventually pass, but probably in a different form. But what it did is it attacked specifically what drives up housing costs. And the lowest hanging fruit, or the spot that makes the biggest impact, is cost added to development. So if your kid or my kid is going to go buy a house and they're going to get a mortgage, that mortgage is going to be packaged up and sold to the secondary mortgage market, which is Fannie Mae. Well, Fannie Mae, when you're going through your approval process, part of it is to make sure that you can pay, but the other part of that process is to make sure your loan is going to be sellable. And so that's the part that people don't understand. And so what that says, part of what that says is that the value of the lot can't be more than 20% of the overall cost of the house. Now, here's why that's important. If a municipality comes along and says, well, you need to have sidewalks in this subdivision, they may not have another subdivision in their town that has sidewalks. And let's suppose it's going to hard cost of $1,000 to put that sidewalk that's now required. What does that do to the cost of the house? Remember, that lot can only be 20%. So now the cost of the house goes up by $5,000. Well, it's not money that just goes into the builder's pocket,
right?
Because an appraiser has to come out, so he's got to evaluate it. So he's like, well, okay, we'll put a sidewalk in, and we better add a screen porch to count, to show the value. Well, here's the thing. I wish these plans were going through and getting approved, and they were only adding $1,000. But $10,000 to $15,000 a lot is more like it, which is $50,000 to $75,000 on the cost of the house. And so, anyway, this bill went after all of those different pieces that were involved in that. Got a lot of people really upset, but the good news is it got people to start talking. And so that's where we're at now. I've been running around meeting with municipalities and talking to municipalities, talking to business groups, because here's the thing. Right now, the average cost of a house for a starter home is $450,000, which
Yeah.
means you have to have $140,000 income. Well, at some point where this really bites us is businesses are going to start to go, I can't pay all my people $140,000 so they can live the American dream in North Carolina.
Right.
And when that happens, it bites everybody. And
Right.
so anyway, that's kind of a fast run through of where I'm at.
No, that's cool. Thank you. So you did kind of touch on what the future looks like. What would you like the future to look like in North Carolina? But tell us just a little bit more about that. What would you like to see? And you can throw on the other side of that. What is it like to be a North Carolinian? You did not start in North Carolina, but you're very passionate about it, and we're really glad to have you here.
Well, it's been 28 years since I moved here, and I did urban ministry in Baltimore City for 13 years. And after that, I mean, it was heavy duty. Like I was on all the rough streets. I've seen it all, done it all. And so we fled and we came here, and we were just, we loved it. We brought the flag with us. See ya. But what I would like to see is, so the other piece to this housing that's so vital, the biggest industry in the state of North Carolina is agriculture.
Right.
So we got housing industry is the second biggest, or construction is the second biggest. Biggest is agriculture. They both compete for the same thing, land.
Right.
So we've got to find a way to bring down housing prices, but also not destroy farmland. And so that's why infill development everywhere where we have municipalities that have water and sewer is vital. And we've got to strip away everything that is hindering higher density development within these communities. If you look at the old neighborhoods or the old areas, like in Winston, we've got an area called West End. There was no planning and zoning. And within that community in West End, there's every kind of housing you can imagine.
It's beautiful too.
Oh, it's gorgeous. You got $1 million houses, you got duplexes, you've got 6-unit apartment buildings, you've got everything in between. I mean, it's amazing, and everybody's happy. But some people have this, a lot of people now have this mentality that, if I can afford a $500,000 house, there better be nobody living near me that doesn't have a $500,000 house.
No kidding.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It is. So, really good points. And we don't always have advocates in fighting for policy, right, in the construction industry. Is that true? Are you maybe one of the only ones that you see in North Carolina, or is there a few more?
Yeah, we've got a few more builders and folks in the General Assembly. Matt Winslow is over in Franklin County as a builder. Mark Brody down in Union County. We've got a few realtor state agents that get it. But I will tell you,
good to hear.
What you need to know is that we take a lot of shots. This is not the NIMBYs, not in my backyard. They are a loud voice, and they are a passionate voice. They're just wrong, and so they take a lot of hits. They take a lot of shots at us. I will tell you that NIMBYs all across the state have my picture on a dartboard, and so.
Oh, really?
But you know what? We've got to do the right thing.
Yes.
And the right thing is taking this issue head on. And that's what we're going to do. And, as long as I'm in the House and as long as I'm able to, I'm going to pursue it. And my vision would be that all of our municipalities would start to get out of the way and help us create absolutely fantastic communities with homeowners. Last point I want to make about homeownership is it is buying into your community. If all of us own stock in a company and one person owns $1,000 and one owns $10,000 and one owns $50,000, all in the same company, which one of us wants the company to fail? None of us.
None.
So if you buy a $100,000 house or you buy a $2 million house in a certain town or municipality, which one of you wants the town to fail?
Nobody.
No. And this is what gets people vested into the community. If we box out the majority of our population, another point, Fox Business had a story about Nepo buyers. Basically, it said first-time home buyers as a whole, all of them have to have help from their parents. In fact, the folks that don't,
I believe that.
Small. Well, think about that. Feudalism,
Yeah.
what is feudalism? You can only own a home if you were a member of the right family. Here, we're
Wow.
regulating ourselves into feudalism. You can only own a home if your parents have been successful enough to help you.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. And that's not how you got here. And it's not how I got here either.
Heck no. Well,
We
there
worked
was,
hard,
yeah, well,
bought a house.
and that should be the reward of working hard.
Yeah, absolutely. So this next election is going to be very, very important. Tell us just a little bit more about that, because not all of our listeners are very up to date on what politics look like and how it affects them and their industry. So tell us a little bit more about why this next election is so important.
This is going to be a huge election. Well, we've got a Supreme Court seat up. We need to make sure that the Republicans hold that. So that's going to be big. We've got, of course, the congressional elections, but the state house, we're one short of a supermajority. We have a supermajority in the Senate, but we want to keep that and really get back to the supermajority. But if the North Carolina House comes down to about 12 races, mine's one of them. And so they'll spend $1.5 million against me, and they'll beat me up like crazy. But if I'm not, I can only be effective if I'm there, and
Right.
and I can only be effective if I'm there and I'm in the majority. And so we've got the best opportunity we have ever had. We're chipping away at the stuff for the construction industry. We've got the best opportunity we've ever had. If we blow it, I mean, it may be 40 years before we get an opportunity like this. And so, particularly the construction industry, but North Carolina as a whole, we need to stay where we're at. We want to stay number one in business, which CNBC has awarded us now 4 times, I think.
Yeah.
And we want to keep this train moving forward.
So how do we help? Okay, so all of our listeners that are in the United States, a lot of them in North Carolina, most of them are in North Carolina. How do we help? How do our listeners help? How do I help? How does ABC help?
So there's a lot of different ways to help. First of all, I would encourage all of your listeners, wherever you live, get to know who your representatives or your senators are, particularly ones that are friendly to our industry, and then support them. There's a lot of ways to support them. You can help them by working the polls. You can help them by doing meet and greets. You can help them by doing a fundraiser for them. That's always important. When you get these swing districts like mine, it is impossible for me to raise enough money out of my district to win my race. And so that's where ABC comes in, PACs come in, all of that stuff. But be engaged and know what it is. The worst thing that can happen is for somebody to lose. And I know a guy that this happened to who lost, and everybody came up to him afterwards and said, well, gosh, I just figured you had it in the bag. I'm so sorry. I would have helped. Don't do that.
Don't be that person.
Yeah. Do everything. Like, think about it this way. If you woke up the day after the election next year and we lost, what would it be that you wished you had done?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Just do it. I mean, it takes hundreds of people to get me elected, and I'm here doing this out of my car because I'm on the way to a fundraiser for someone else that's in a swing district, to go down there and thank the people and say, give more. I hate to ask for money, but we have no choice. If we don't raise it, if we don't spend it, and we don't get it there, we're
not going to make an impact, right?
Yep.
Thank you so much, Representative Zenger, for being on today. We appreciate you, and we just can't wait for our listeners to hear what you have to say. We hope that this airs on Monday, November 3rd. That's the plan, so that should be Monday. We're going to do it quickly. We want everybody to know what you're doing. Thank you for all the work that you do for North Carolina and for the North Carolina people. We appreciate you, and I can't thank you enough for just sharing and just putting so much effort and passion into what you do every day.
Well, thank you. It's great to be among friends. A lot of times that doesn't happen. So I appreciate you guys. For all you folks, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Great.
You can look me up at jeffzenger.com. Anything I can do to help you guys, reach out to me at my office. Thank you so much.
And mention this too. If somebody's wants to put a fundraiser together for you, how do they get a hold of you? Is that the best way to do it? Social media?
If you go to jeffzenger.com, you should be able to do a message there. If that doesn't work, reach out to me on like Facebook Messenger or something, and I'll get it.
Awesome. Thank you, Representative. Have a wonderful day today, and we
Thank you.
wish you all the luck.
Thank you. We appreciate
Bye.
you guys. Bye bye.